Trust in the workplace is absolutely crucial. It's the key for leaders to create followership, to have people actually want to follow you and follow your lead. I just read an article from one of the largest consulting firms in the world, and their research revealed that just about half of all employees actually don't trust either their company, their team, or their leaders. And the leaders that I coach often struggle with, how do I go about creating trust? They actually have this sense that trust is this ambiguous or sort of elusive thing that you either have or you don't have. But the good news is that you can go about taking charge of creating trust. You can go about actually doing something about it. And in today's video, which is the next in our installment of tools you can use for leaders, we're going to talk about creating trust. We're going to talk about how to actually go about taking charge of the building blocks that lead to trust, that lead to followership. And it's called the trust equation. So let's take a look at that. There are 4 pieces to the trust equation, 4 elements of this equation. And this comes from the book, The Trusted Advisor. So here's how it works. Trust equals competence plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. So let's talk about the building blocks of the trust equation. The first is competence. This is about what you know as a leader. Do you know your business? Do you know the marketplace? Do you operate strategically? Do you think strategically? Do you execute? And are you harnessing the potency in your people? So the competence piece is about the knowing and the doing. I'm going to change here so that you can read this. This is about knowing what you need to know in order to do what you need to do as a leader. Okay? Reliability is about how you do it, how you execute on what you know as a leader. So let me tell you a story of a client I've worked with associated with reliability. So this is a healthcare organization, a national healthcare organization. I was working with the CEO, coaching the CEO, and we were working on the reliability issue, sort of the overall trust issue that the CFO was creating for himself. So basically the CFO was excellent in terms of his competence, in terms of his knowing what to do and all the functional capability that he had. But what he did to actually undermine the CEO's trust in him and his people's trust in him is that he was constantly taking on responsibilities that were his natural responsibilities, but actually not delivering all of them on time. So reliability is very much about, do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you do it when you say you're going to do it? And can people count on you to actually deliver? So there's that's the normal part of reliability. But the other part of reliability, so this CFO was actually constantly undermining people's belief in him, and it actually undermined his competence, their perception of his competence as well, and overall their trust in him as a leader, because he was constantly not delivering on his deliverables, on his deadlines. The other piece of reliability So reliability, as we said, is how you do things. So there are two pieces to it. There's the what you do when you do it or don't do it, and then there's the how you do it. So the other part of reliability that people are feeling and thinking is, can I actually count on this person to be operating with integrity, to be honest, to have principles that they follow and that they imbue the rest of the organization with. Okay, the third piece, so we're basically in this equation, we're saying competence plus reliability plus intimacy. So what's intimacy? That sounds a little touchy-feely, right? It's basically intimacy is about how people feel about you in relationship to how they think you feel about them. So this is about, well, let's use a phrase that I often use with my clients. This is relates to competence and intimacy. So there's a phrase that basically says, people don't care what you know, your competence, unless they know that you care. And so one of the reasons people will trust you as a leader, and one of the reasons why they'll want to follow you, is if they feel and know that they are important to you and important to the organization. So one of the ways things often fall down in terms of the trust equation is if people feel like they're just widgets or they're just robots in the machine of the company. So I was working with a software CEO, and we did his 360, and his 360 came back and people said, you know, I don't really feel like I matter. I feel like as long as I do my work, he's very satisfied with me. But if I don't, that there's definitely an undercurrent where the dissatisfaction basically takes the form of him being aloof toward me. So I don't feel the care. So we heard that thread throughout the 360 comments. So that's where that particular leader lost people's trust or watered it down. So we've got competence plus reliability plus intimacy. That's how you're building trust. And then what can you do to actually wash it away? So the denominator in the equation is self-orientation. So what do we mean by self-orientation? Well, it's as it sounds. It's basically like, what are this person's motives? How are people experiencing you in terms of your ego or your agenda? So if you think about it, you build with these, and then you can wash it away or lessen it with self-orientation. So what's an example? An example would be if someone takes credit for your work, or if someone, as a leader, if you're saying I instead of we, when you're talking about the results of your team. So that's the trust equation in a nutshell. Take a look at the accompanying article and let me know what you think. I'd love to know how it works for you and what results you get. Enjoy.